We started season 5, then this whole pandemic thing happened, and now we're back here. So what has this whole roller coaster ride been like for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, so I think I'm correct when I say that season 5 took 504 days in total to film. So it's certainly the longest season I've been a part of yet. You know, coming back into season 5 was an extraordinary treat, coming out of what was a year of balancing very intense gratitude and very intense grief at the same time, and getting to come back into season 5 of Billions and reunite with people who are my friends, my chosen family, you know, just the best acting partners I could ever ask for was incredible. And, you know, season 5, episode 8 picks up right where season 7 left off. You know, it's a thrill ride right from the start. I've only seen episode 508, but you've seen 508 and 509, right?
Mm-hmm.
But would you agree? Would you agree the season?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It just feels like we never left off at all.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So what was the hardest part in terms of jumping back into it? Because it's one thing to familiarize yourself with the season and then you get it going, but there was a huge gap here and you didn't have to deal with that before. So what were some of the challenges?
Yeah, that's true. I think coming back from the pandemic, and I know I wasn't alone in this, you know, myself as well as the other actors, I think we were all soft in a good way. I mean, like the show lives in a very austere environment, and the pandemic was unprecedented and emotional for all different kinds of reasons for all of us in many different ways. And I think coming back into the show, it took a little bit of recalibration for all of us just to be like, okay, we're back. Like, we're actually back. This is really happening. And it's wonderful to be working with people where it feels very safe and like we all trust each other to allow the process to happen and unfold as it needs to. And, you know, it's a real credit to the entire health and safety team that we have at Billions, you know, led by April Taylor, Jake Brown, Lisa Khosrow, and Kevin McGee, who, I mean, on the one hand, it's totally surreal to have come back to work and been wearing masks and shields and social distancing and attempting to and succeeding in making television under those parameters. On the one hand, it was extraordinarily surreal, of course. And on the other hand, it felt so seamless in so many ways, like we'd almost been always filming it that way. And that is a credit, as I said, to our health and safety team. So not only being able to come back to work, but being able to come back safely. And feel cared for. I'm so grateful for that.
One of the things I did during the pandemic was rewatch some of Billions. My wife had never watched it before. So we're on our way. We're on season 4 right now. So she missed the first ride. I had to make sure she got on here.
I forgive.
We're going to forgive, but she's in. Yeah. And totally in on the storyline with Taylor. And listen, their storyline has been nuts. When you go back and watch and just think about that whole situation, what are some of the most underrated parts of Taylor Mason when you think about the whole journey here?
What do you mean underrated?
Well, maybe things that we as an audience don't focus on enough, but you have really focused on when it comes to developing that storyline.
Interesting. Well, yeah, because I don't know what nuances about Taylor other people gravitate to in particular, and I'm sure everyone is very different, you know. I think one of the things that has always really interested me about Taylor is the level at which they are introspective and how often and when and why they go sort of into themselves to discover how they can grow and change or adapt in specific relation to how they have been in the past. And I think one of the things I'm excited for about season 5 coming back and audiences checking with Taylor is seeing that introspection. You know, certainly in episode 508, we get some of that, and seeing how that will affect, you know, what Taylor is going for and how Taylor will behave and operate, you know, for the remainder of the season.
Those are really interesting points. And just the ability that Taylor has to feel and be introspective, their relationships throughout, whether it's Axe, Wendy, Chuck, I mean, those relationships are really interesting, especially with Wendy too, right? It was a trustworthy relationship, then it wasn't, then there is some working relationship. So what's it like playing out some of those dynamics, specifically when it comes to Taylor and Wendy?
I mean, it's awesome. It's fun. You know, I mean, working with Maggie is extraordinary and always has been. And I'm so grateful for the scenes. You know, the writing we have is also extraordinary. I love the show, if you can't tell. And so getting to learn more about who Taylor is every time, you know, I get to play a scene as Taylor, there is information that I get to glean as an actor about, okay, Taylor responded that way. Like, what does that mean about who Taylor is and how they're feeling in this moment? And when it comes to the relationship with Wendy, I think it's, you know, Taylor has to learn how to have trusted someone, have that trust broken, but still need them. And then, I mean, Taylor and Wendy have one of, I think, the most dynamic interpersonal relationships on the show. And, you know, it doesn't get any less dynamic when the season comes back.
Definitely looking forward to that. I don't know if we've talked since that Limitless episode that was at the beginning of season 5.
We have not. No, in fact, I was going to say, I couldn't have imagined last year when we spoke on Zoom that we would be speaking again on Zoom. You know,
I know, it's crazy. It really is. But that episode was bonkers, and Taylor plays an important part in that episode. What was it like just watching everything unfold? Because there have been some wild Billions episodes, but this one, it feels like it was cranked up a little extra here. Yeah,
totally. You know, the end of that episode, Taylor is really faced with an Axe as a man who is, he's really lost and succumbed to this battle with Mike Prince. And I think Taylor can see that Axe is is lost and that his judgment is clouded, and Taylor has done all they can to try and pull, you know, Axe back from the brink. And you know, at the end of episode 507, we see that, you know, Axe is at battle stations again. And, you know, playing that scene, you know, there are multiple emotions going on. On the one hand, Taylor is, you know, can't believe that Axe is still sort of behaving in this childish way, frankly, and is sad. And I think Taylor is sad that Axe sort of can't find his own way out of this predicament. And at least at the end of, you know, what we've seen, when we come back in 508, you know, we'll see if he can find his way out or not.
Certainly going to be interesting. Another interesting part of Taylor Mason is their ability to look at technology and the impact that has on the financial world. And listen, a lot happened in our world. We saw Reddit impacting the stock market. We saw GameStop and the meme stocks. I mean, it was just interesting for, you know, the two of us to talk about. But from Taylor Mason's perspective, did you let your mind wander a little bit when all that was going on?
No, because I'm not Taylor. Yeah, no, I mean, if anything that is written into the show, you know, that I have to say is Taylor, then I will obviously do the research. But during the pandemic, I was not sort of putting myself in Taylor's shoes and thinking like, what would Taylor think about it?
You're just trying to get by. You're just trying to survive at this point.
Yeah,
right?
I was just being me.
I feel you. When it comes to this show, what are you most proud of? Because you're somebody who's been an activist and being a non-binary person, an actor. This character has been really impactful. What are you most proud of overall?
Oh gosh. I don't know if I can pick one thing that I'm the most proud of overall. Because things exist in different realms, right? Like, I'm extraordinarily proud to be the first non-binary character played by a non-binary actor in a major television series. You know, I continue to be proud of that and extraordinarily grateful to Showtime for working with me and supporting me, you know, around that specifically. And I'm incredibly grateful to be working with people who I respect and who respect me, you know, as an actor. To me, that is safety, which creates the ability to play, you know, and then create. And so I think I'm proud of the show. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the work that we've all created. Honestly, I can't wait for people to see the back half of season 5. It is, I just think people are going to really be hooked if they aren't already. And honestly, if it's your first time coming into the show, like, come on in, you know what I mean? Like, you've got time to binge watch what you need to catch up. And I just think season 5 is extraordinary.
Good deal, Asia. It's always a pleasure. Thanks so much for the time, and we'll definitely chat again down the road, all right?
Thank you so much. It was really nice to see you and nice talking.